Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, you work with a bunch of kids in schools, but these kids are going to soon grow up and you'll be working for them. So as people get older, what you're finding a lot more in the last few years is that as people are leaving the workforce, coming back into the workforce, changing jobs, whatever, it can often set up a lot of interesting relationships. And one of the stories that I have a really, really good friend who is multiple times, especially in marketing, going to work for people that are younger than him. It has been a struggle for him, and he's not, I don't even think he's 50 yet, but he's just seeing that this is becoming an issue with a lot, and it's in all kinds of industries and verticals. What is your advice to someone on how they should approach working for someone who's younger?
I think you have to keep the end in mind. What outcome are you really hoping for? Because so often our pride can get in the way and try to tell us you shouldn't listen to somebody who hasn't lived as much life as you have. Look at you, look at what you've accomplished. And that probably feels good in the moment, but that short-term benefit actually turns into hindering your own career in the long run. Also hinders the business or the organization that you're working for in the long run because you're not all in. And ultimately it hurts you because if you start building the habit of arrogance, lack of listening, fault finding, which is really what's going on when you're starting to decide I'm not listening to somebody younger than me, it's not just going to stay contained in that one relationship with your boss. It's going to start leaking out into other relationships that maybe have a different demographic that might be something might be different than age. So I think we got to choose humility because we want the long-term outcome to be blank, whatever that is for you.
I think humility is the key. You've got to check the ego at the door. One of the things that people have to remember, and this can be tough, especially in the marketing world where they go work for an agency, odds are if you're 30, and I had somebody who was 28 tell me they felt old because everybody else in there was 22 to 24, which I just thought was funny and refreshing. It's because the 30-year-old was a mom, a new mom, and that became an important thing to her. You have to reframe the idea that it's not you versus them. It's really how do they fit into an organization versus how you fit. That you may be 50 and have 30, 20, whatever years worth of wisdom more than the other person. However, if they've worked for that company for 5 years, they have, and you've worked for them for 0, they have 5 years on service to that company. And to a company, they're not thinking about whether or not your ego's in check versus theirs. You may be better at it, but we all have to figure out. I didn't design my career based on the way that I was going to, for certain, interact with certain people. I wasn't looking for white males who were a little bit older than me each time I went into a job, and that's how I was going to progress.
Right.
And if you can't figure that out and learn to work with whites, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, all of them, male, female, whatever, you're going to have an issue because at some point people are going to be younger than you, and you've got to figure out how you fit into the equation for the company as opposed to somebody younger who comes up to you and you think they're supposed to bend the knee and kiss your ring. And it doesn't happen that way because in business, you got to get rid of those emotions. And you're figuring out at that point that you're serving them, not yourself and your own ego. It's a tough lesson for most folks. Or you could just do what I do and become a solopreneur and work for yourself.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.